Hi all, let's proceed with learning what are data types in Java. So we have seen int age equals to 10. So what was int in that? It was just a data type. What kind of data we are writing in that? So a data type tells Java what kind of value a variable can store. Till now we are clear about variable. If you are not, you can watch the previous video. And what does the data type do? It will take what type of data and how much memory size it is going to take and what will be the range of those values and what operations are allowed on that data. So for example, we have seen int age equals to 25. Here int is the data type, age is the variable name, equals to is the assignment operator, 25 is the value or the literal, and semicolon is the end of the statement we have. So here age can store only integer values. Okay, so because we have declared its data type as int. So why do we need data type? I told you should till now you should be aware of. I always teach why do you need. Okay, because every computer memory is limited and Java needs to know how much memory to allocate to what variable. So what kind of value it is gonna store. This we should tell Java already. So that's why we use different data types and we have this int marks equals to 95. Here marks variable can store integer values and here we have stored 95. Here salary variable can store double values. Double means dot and you can have like digits after decimal point. Grade can store only one character in single quotes, that is a we have stored right now. So different values need different memory size. That's why we need to define data type because the size of int is different, double is different, character is different. Also we have two types of data types, that is primitive and non-primitive. Till now the int double character we have seen that all comes under primitive. Non-primitive we will not discuss in this video because they itself is a large concept. We'll see them in future videos. Now primitive data types. There are totally 8 primitive data types and in most of the language like Java, C, C++, you will see these types only. First is very basic, that is byte. Byte, the size of the byte is 1 byte. For short, it is 2 bytes. For int, it's 4 byte. For long, it's 8 byte. For float, it's also 4 byte as same as integer. Double is also same as long 8 bytes. Character is 2 bytes. And boolean, it depends on JVM. It don't have any fixed size. Byte is like 100. Short, you can give this value. Integer, you can store any value. Long, very long number. Floating point, decimal values. Okay, double also decimal values, but they store their range is greater than that of float. Character will store a single char and true or false is boolean value. Okay, now we'll see difference between primitive and non-primitive. For now you are aware of only primitive and you should know primitive only. I don't expect you to be aware of non-primitive. Primitive types are built in. They are of fixed size we have seen, but only for boolean it depends on JVM. Primitive stores the actual value and we always start primitive with lowercase example int. You can see this table again. We are always starting these B, S, I, L, F, D, C, B. Everything is in starting with small letters. Non-primitive are not built in. These are what a programmer creates. Their size is not fixed. It always depends on programmer. And non-primitive store addresses and references, whereas the primitive stores are actual value. And non-primitive usually starts with uppercase, for example, string. We'll discuss them in future video. Now let's proceed with seeing the default values of a primitive data type. For primitive, if you want to remember, most of them will have 0. Byte is 0, short is 0, int is 0. If we are giving any data type, any like assigning any long data type, like for example 1 2 3 also, we have to append it with capital L. That's why our compiler will get to know that this contains a long value. For float we have to combine it with small f, for example 0.12f. This will be the floating value. For double, it's by default, but it's better to append it with small d. Remember, only for Long you use capital L, otherwise you use small values. For character, this is the default value slash u 4 times 0, and boolean it's false by default. So I want you, so let's write this data types example. Okay, I'll show you this. And after that, we have just common mistakes. So let's first go with common mistakes, then I'll show you this data type, how we are running this data type. Okay, so common mistake what students do, they forgot capital L in long, or either they use small l. That sometimes causes compilation, that always cause compilation error. So always remember to append it with caps L. For getting small f, sometimes people write float value as this, but this is the correct one. You should append it with small f. For character, sometimes students use double quote. That is wrong. We need to use single quotes. And thinking string is a primitive is the biggest misconception. String is always non-primitive in nature. So one short revision is data type tells what kind of data a variable can store. We have two type of data types, primitive and non-primitive. Primitive is of 8 types, and int is the default integer, double is the default decimal, character single character, boolean either true or false, string is non-primitive, long uses L, float uses F, double uses D. I think you are clear with the data type concept. There was not much in this. Data type defines the type of value a variable can store. Now we'll see VS Code and we'll try to execute this program. Let me show you my VS Code. So we'll create one another class, say data type. Data type dot Java. Okay. So here, first of all, you are aware we will write public. We'll create a class named as data type, and then inside that, the necessary thing is public static void main string arguments. I think till now you are aware of all this. Now, if you want to declare, like, let's see this example here. Age, int age equals to 21. This is integer data type. Double price equals to 19.99. I told you it's better to write small d after it. By default, it consider as double, not as float. Character, I already told you we kept them inside single quotes. Boolean, its default value is false, but we can write it as true. We can also have float data type. I'll show you. I want you to cover everything. Float, floating number, let's say. Float value equals to, I'll append it with f. Okay, then here also we can print it. Okay, so what is left? Int, double, character, float, boolean. What all data types we are left with? So let's see, with this only you can understand, you can use any of the data types. So whenever you'll compile the C dot class file got generated and we got these values in our console. So this is double value. We'll see a very interesting concept later about typecasting also. That is also very interesting. So for now, this was all about data type. If you have some doubts, please feel free to comment and ask your doubts and try to clear your concept as much as you can. And if you have any suggestions for me in my teaching method or something, I'll be happy to hear that. Thanks.